What's good, Tech fans, man? Today I'm going to be giving you guys four names to watch this upcoming season. Underrated players, some are known, some are not. I'm talking about when you talk about Georgia Tech, you don't really always mention these names. So I'm gonna put y'all on game. Four underrated players y'all need to know and watch this upcoming season that can have a big impact on Georgia Tech's success and them potentially getting to a CFP playoff. All right, what's going on, y'all, man? Welcome back to the show. So today, again, we're talking about four underrated players that Georgia Tech can watch out for. But before we begin, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hype up the video, man. Share with a friend, man, and tell us where you are coming from today, man, when you watch this episode, man. What part of Georgia or what part of the country? 'Cause I know Tech fans are everywhere. So let me know down in the comments where you guys are coming from and where you guys are tuned in. And I hope GT fans, y'all don't get too mad. Y'all are very responsible for the growth of my channel. I want you guys to know that first and foremost. That's why I give you guys your credit about the revenue record you set. You guys are awesome. I will always produce content for Georgia Tech. I will never change, no matter how big I get. I will always have some type of content or some kind of idea or some kind of response on Georgia Tech. So never worry about that. But again, we got to expand, y'all. So, you're going to see more content of some rivals, Miami in there, maybe even Georgia a little bit. Obviously, Texas will be in there. Bama got Auburn. Looks like that might be a team we talk about more on the channel. You know what I'm saying? And obviously several others, including Tennessee. But, I'm going to keep you guys always updated as I am an insider with Georgia Tech. So I'll always keep you guys ready to go for that. All right? So let's talk about the four players you guys got to watch out for. Let's start with the first one. Now, this one's flying under the radar, but I think this kid has massive potential, and that is Daiquan White of Georgia Tech. Last year, he came over. Thought I heard something. I'm sorry, y'all. Last year, he came over, guys, from Eastern Michigan, right? He didn't play a whole bunch. He was a reserve player. Luckily, in that game against Wake Forest, right, he ended up, I think it was an offsides penalty he had. Luckily, it didn't go against Georgia Tech in that situation scenario. We know, obviously, their head coach was livid back up in that game. But I think this year for Daiquan White, it's a big year for him because I believe he's going to take the next step forward in his career, right? Comes from Creekside High School here in Metro Atlanta on the South Side. And he's a guy that is very sound, very technically sound type of a prospect, type of a player. Really good potential, strong, physical, really good tackler in my humble opinion, and really good ball skills. We've seen some of it a little bit in the spring game. Right now, Jonas DeClono was hurt. We've seen Zachary Toby a little bit, but he was the main guy outside of Jalen Mbakwe on the other side. And I think that's the type of capability this kid has, right? And I think this is his time, right? He's a senior. This is last year. Put some good tape out on the forefront and showcase his talent and what he can obviously do and bring to the table. I think this is the year Daiquan White shocks some people and goes crazy for Georgia Tech. And I think they're going to have them two really good corners on the outside. Now, the reason I say I think this, I've seen a very strong spring from him. Outside of spring game, he was making plays in spring practice when we was there, right? He was, staying in phase with receivers. He was making it difficult. And this is a guy that has, again, he's been an All-American. He's done what he's done at Eastern Michigan. He's been, all-conference before. This guy has everything it takes in order to have one of those caliber seasons. And I think to even help Georgia Tech continue to land more elite cornerback talent. I like Daiquan White. I think he's special. I think it's a bright future ahead, man. So I think this is the year he breaks out. Very smart as well, or he wouldn't be at Georgia Tech. And I think this is the year, the Atlanta native goes off. So I'm putting you guys on game. Cornerback Daiquan White. Watch out for this player this upcoming year for Georgia Tech. Number two is this guy. We talked about him a little bit on the channel, right? Not everybody knows about him, but Kevin Roche Jr. We've seen it in the spring. 7 catches, I think 60 yards. Dude absolutely went off, produced at a high level, did what he did. I think the reason it is, obviously going to have Gavin Harris, Chris Corbo, Spencer Merman's coming in there. But the reason Kevin Roche has a chance, he's a big body receiver. He's about 6'8", 6'9", right? So he's already got a physical mismatch. In that red zone, when you want to run that pro style system and you want to hand the ball off, right? Or you want to do play action, this guy is perfect, right? He's a security blanket. He has strong hands. And what I like also is his ability after the catch, right? Last year, Georgia Tech struggled a little bit with Brett Sidlers of the world, JT Burns, because they couldn't really break loose, right? They struggled sometimes catching the ball. But they were really good blocking tight ends. This is the first year Georgia Tech has really elite tight ends when it comes to catching the football. And I think Kevin Roche Jr., after really sitting last year, not really playing a whole bunch, now is going to be in the forefront. And I think Georgia Tech has 4 solid tight ends. But this is a guy, I'll see how much playing time he gets in terms of, in between the field, right? When they're getting the ball at the 20 or the 30 or the 40 or the 50. But I think he could do a lot of his damage in the red zone, and he could be a physical mismatch for defenders, right? Georgia Tech has not had this. They have that in Kevin Roche Jr. So with some of those struggles in those games like Boston College, or you go back to NC State, I don't think Georgia Tech will have those struggles now this year because they have a couple of weapons in there, like the Isaiah Furmans and Kevin Roche Jr.'s they can get the ball to in those tight windows, corners, and spaces and make big plays down the field. So I think he's due. I think he's primed for a big-time year, and I think he's going to go off for Georgia Tech. So that's another underrated player. I think he's going to do some major, major damage. And again, the only reason you know about him is whether you was on Locked on Georgia Tech or you've been following the program closely. Outside of that, the national media is not going to know about this kid at all. Next up is this guy right here, Cayman Spaulding. Now, everybody knows about E.J. Lightsey and Kyle Eford. I almost put Kyle Eford, but he's been an all-ACC player before. Cayman Spaulding is probably the most athletic player on this team, right? And him and Braylon Outlaw are some of like those players that you want to see, those players that you're excited to watch. The reason I think Spaulding is going to be able to take a step forward because I think he is working on his game so much, spring, summer, then going into the fall camp, that he's going to be able to flourish, right? Now, it's going to be interesting to see what GT does. Do they do, like, this is a different defensive scheme system. Is it still 2 linebackers? Do they roll out 3? Do they, because for Cayman Spaulding, he's one of those ones, he can line up against running backs and stay toe-to-toe, nip and tuck, right? He can line up against tight ends and cover. We've seen a little bit of that in the spring, right? Especially in the spring game when he was going toe-to-toe with tight ends and bigger guys, and he was making plays. He nearly had like 1 or 2 picks in that game alone, right, in the spring game. So if he could add that element, and that's a consistent element from Cayman Spaulding, I think he's going to be very dangerous, right? I think he's going to be a guy that makes a lot of plays for Georgia Tech throughout, right? And they need that. They've always struggled guarding tight ends. They've always struggled with slot receivers, right? Obviously, that's going to be your nickel, but they've always struggled with those mismatches when the linebacker is on the wrong person, being able to hold your own. I think Cayman's one of those ones. He's going to be able to thrive in those type situations and be able to make the plays necessary to elevate this Georgia Tech defense in this linebacker room. And the other reason I think he's going to be able to stand out even more, he has a coach that specializes in that. No disrespect to the last coach they had, but Jason Seymour specializes in the growth and development of linebackers, right? So I think all these guys are going to have career years, right? The E.J. Lightsey's, the Kyle Efords, but I think Spaulding with his athleticism, his ability to cover, his physicality, I think all 3 of those things is going to make for a splendid season on the flats for Cayman Spaulding because he has everything he needs in order to be successful. And now the growth and development of his game, being a veteran, wanting to go out on top, wanting to have a strong season for Georgia Tech, wanting to get into the first ever playoffs, I think Cayman Spaulding is going to ball out this year. And he showed us last year a little bit of that, some glimpses of that. I think this is the year, though. He takes full flight and he breaks the hell out and shows you, hey, I'm that dude. I'm one of them ones. You're going to know about me, period. Cayman Spaulding, a name to know. Do not forget about him when it comes down to it. And last but not least, this is the player, in my humble opinion, besides Mendoza, besides Justice Haynes, besides the defense, he's going to be the one player, the one X factor, Dalen Penson, of how successful Georgia Tech is going to be this season, right? Because they need desperately somebody to emerge in the wide receiver role. Let's just say, hypothetically, Isaiah Furman is the number 2. They still going to need a number 3 wide receiver. The rotation thing they had last year was cool, but you don't need guys rotating. You need guys that are going to be performing. And he has next level track speed, right? He's a 3-time 110-meter hurdle champion. He still runs track right now. Dude is very smart, right? That's advantageous for Georgia Tech. All right. And remember, you can see my name up there to the right, Najeh Wilkins, of him moving to wide receiver. They need Dalen Penson to go off this year. It's that simple, right? Because everybody's going to be predicated to stop this run. They need guys to burn defenders on one-on-one action. This is going to probably be the first year Georgia Tech's going to have so much one-on-one opportunities deep down the field. Like, without a doubt, they're going to have a whole bunch, a myriad of one-on-one opportunities, whether it's Jordan Allen, whether it is Isaiah Furman, whether it's Dalen Penson, DeBron Gatlin, Evan Haynes, right? Any of those young freshman thoroughbreds that come in there as well. This is the year to do it because everybody's going to be going 8, 9, maybe even 10-man boxes to stop the run, which your receivers on the outside have to win. That is Penson. We didn't get the chance to see so much of it. We've seen a couple, like, you know what I'm saying, plays here and there and things like that during the spring, but he didn't play in the spring game. So we still don't know. It's a question mark. It's unknown of what it's going to be and what it's going to look like. But you have confidence because you go back to high school, you see what he was able to do. Go back to high school and see a difference maker he was on that side of the ball as a wide receiver. You have full confidence that he can do it in college as well, right? So this is a guy, he holds a lot of the keys to success of this offense because when they predicate trying to stop that run, not allow you to do different things, he's going to have to be the one that steps up. He's going to have to be the one that makes the difference. He's going to have to be the one that beats one-on-one coverage, that makes big plays down the field, that helps Mendoza with his completion percentage. It's going to be very important because if not, it could be a long year for Georgia Tech. But if Dalen Penson can stay healthy, make the plays necessary, he should be a top number 3 wide receiver on the team. And hey, if he performs even good enough, he might be number 2. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what happens with Furman. But this is going to be a player to watch as well. Dalen Penson, penciling in. If he has a big year, Georgia Tech will be dangerous. Mark my words. I have them between 9 and 10 wins. If Penson goes off this year, they will have a big-time season. All right? So those are 4 players you need to know. Dalen Penson, Kevin Roche Jr., Cayman Spaulding, and Daiquan White are my 4 underrated players nobody's talking about that can have big seasons on the flats. All right? You heard it here first, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hype up the video. Let me know. Please engage with me. I'm going to start doing more polls, more things like that. Please engage with me and let me know content you guys want to see so we can continue to grow this thing, man. Much love, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And remember, as always, peace and love.